Indian startups are growing very fast, but global startups are going very faster in very smarter way. How Indian startup can adopt that system?
For example, Airbnb, how they built their entire ecosystem. So they were talking to customers and they were improving the product. So if you are not talking to your customers and taking a feedback, then probably you're gone.
They are not creating product, just they are doing ads, performance marketing ads. How many customers are interacting with the ads? After that, they are launching the product.
So I was working with that bank. I have seen them literally burning millions of dollars building such campaigns. And then 2 week, 3 week ke baad, you're not getting the registrations. You're not getting the leads. Ab kya karoge?
How you train the people in the organization? Like
my approach is I will work with a leader who is very pro to this agile thinking.
So are they really using the agile methodology or it's just a buzzword?
Most of the time, the startups, that's what, no? There is a 90%.
Sekhar sir, welcome to the Founder's Dream.
Thank you so much.
Before start this podcast, sir, I want to clear one thing to all aspiring founders. And what is that one thing? We started this podcast now, and before that we were just having a conversation. If a founder start a journey, first to he see the profit, everything. Okay. First to 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, he is thinking about I'm making good profit and everything. So once the time increases, okay, the market shares keep decreasing. And the expenses, first year the expenses was 1 lakh. In the third year, expenses will be 10 lakh, 20 lakh or 30 lakhs or whatever it can be. So expenses keep increasing and the market size keep decreasing. Either you make the huge profit like $1 billion company, or either you start creating new product to sustain yourself. If I'm not wrong, sir, please correct me.
So what usually happens in the market, based on my best knowledge, is every organization survives on a product or a service.
Correct.
So what happens is when you are putting something into the market, you are not only attracting customers, you are also attracting competitors.
Absolutely right.
So what happens is the more and more players, they usually come into the market and they start disrupting you. Either they take a big piece of you or chota pieces they'll take out from you. And at some point of time, that business is no longer viable for you to meet your own business expenses.
Absolutely right, sir.
So it is the disruption that is the current norm in the market.
I think now you are become founder, right? Because before that you are working somewhere.
Yeah.
Right? Now it's a 20 year of experience.
Yeah.
What you have learned from 20 year of experience, sir? First question.
So I'm a founder and CEO of Sain Innovation. At Sain Innovation, I have my own brilliant team. We help organizations move away from old, very bureaucratic thinking to a lot of agile thinking, agile culture, and agile mindset. So we not only preach agility, we also make sure that agile is very contagious. I call it as catalyzing agility.
Okay.
Apart from that, I usually do a lot of teaching, coaching and consulting for organizations who wanted to think about agile ways of working. And, I wear a lot of hats with a lot of pride and purpose. So I'm associated with Scrum Alliance. It's one body that is a big pioneer for promoting agility across the organization. In fact, they call it as we transform the world of work. So they want new work cultures to have to emerge across the world. So I'm a certified Scrum trainer, certified enterprise coach, certified team coach. And over the last few years, I trained more than 25,000 people. 25,000 people on the basic Scrum courses. They have a lot of certification courses. So 19,000 people only on certification, and rest of 8 to 10,000 people on non-certification courses and all. So we usually customize based on their need, based on the customer's need. We customize the training, we customize the offerings, and we give it to them. So, and apart from that, I was part of 4 or 5 big transformations across organizations, and I failed so many times.
Every entrepreneur failed, sir. So many times.
I take pride in failing because failing teaches you a lot of things. It is not that you be successful all the time, but if you cannot fail, you cannot learn.
Absolutely. I have seen one image, sir, just one day before. There were two tennis player. One just got on the first chance he win the match, and the second one he was failed. He was just thinking why I am failed, how to just throw the ball and everything, right? So on the first go he won the match. He didn't get any kind of learning. In the second one, now the learning process started, like in the life.
Failure teaches you a lot of good lessons than success. So I have never seen successful people becoming successful overnight without failures. So yeah, so that's part of usually the life. So I'm also currently in ICF, International Coaching Federation, professional certified coach, where we coach people into shifting thought processes, mindsets. How do you think differently? How do you approach the problem differently? Because
Can that be happen?
yeah. I can only transform those people who want to transform.
Who want to transform?
Because I cannot transform you unless you want to transform. But if you come to me and say that, this is my weakness, where मैं failure से बहुत डर जाता हूँ. So if you are someone who comes to me and say that this is my weakness, yes, we can work towards it. So maybe what the kind of action we design is, okay, go and take risks in life and fail few times, and then come to me, and I want you to take a journal, a notes of everything what you learned out of that failure. And बाद में if the same thing comes again, how do you really face it? So it is a journey of what I call it as your shift in the thought process. It is something like this, no? When you are beaten up 10-20 times, you don't mind getting beaten up again because you got used to it.
Correct.
But if you are getting beaten up for the first time, you get really scared of getting beaten up. So ये तो journey है, sir. This is I have seen people who go through this journey become so hard. They are the ones who are what I call them as failure resilient.
Right.
So that is something a big thing. In fact, if you I was talking to his name is Kent Beck. I met him in US. So he was the coach at Facebook.
Coach at Facebook.
Facebook. He's no longer now. But and one thing, what really stood out at Meta or Facebook, he said like anyone can try anything in the organizations without getting scared of being failed. And the one of the biggest learning for me is they celebrate failures.
Wow.
So it's a new culture, new thinking.
But India में तो you can't fail.
India में तो you can't even go anywhere near to it.
Right.
हाँ,
अगर कंपनी में फेल हो गए तो मतलब you got fired.
fired. That is what, no? So even in our company, what we do is you can make mistake once, but don't fail the same way twice. That is what we reach to. Of course, we also takes a lot of time to reach that celebrating failure stage. But again, the point that I'm trying to make is, if you cannot encourage people to fail, they'll not take risks. If they are not taking risks, you're not innovating. If you're not innovating, company to, you know what will happen.
बंद होना ही है. So for that I have written one book, sir. Your company is going to shut down for sure. Today, tomorrow, day after tomorrow, it will going to shut down if you don't do these things. So I think we are on the same page. Correct. अच्छा सर, you tell me one thing right now कि आप अभी आप एजाइल ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन में कैसे सिखाते हो, क्या करते हो? मतलब पहले तो देखते हैं like if we thought about like the word to agile and scrum, it is just a word for the software. As a layman comes, अगर आप सबसे पूछोगे यहाँ पे क्या वर्ड है, तो बोलेंगे ये तो कि सॉफ्टवेयर डेवलपमेंट में एजाइल टेक्नोलॉजी यूज करते हैं और वाटरफॉल मॉडल यूज करते हैं, और आई थिंक स्क्रम इज इनटू द वेबसाइट और सॉफ्टवेयर डेवलपमेंट.
Based on my best experience, ये Agile manifesto was designed in 2001. So उसका 4 statement है, and then there are 12 principles. This is all Agile. It is one page printed back to back. So that is all Agile. And there are so many frameworks like Scrum, ये सब that aligns to Agile manifesto. And it is an umbrella. Let's say imagine that Agile manifesto and statements are umbrella, and Scrum, XP, there are so many other frameworks that align to Agile manifesto and principles. So, but ये जो Agile manifesto and statements, they are very, very radical to waterfall thinking. It is totally opposite. ये क्या होता है ना? According to me, Scrum is the most popular framework in the market because many people are promoting it. It became popular, but also it is the most misunderstood framework.
ठीक है, आप समझा दीजिए सर.
ये लोग, I'll tell you, they pick up few jargon here and there and एक दो tools use करके उसको manage कर देते. So it's largely what people always do is you don't understand it in its totality. एक दो jargon use करके लोग
चिपका देते हैं.
हाँ
सही वर्ड यूज किया है.
correct. एक दो it's primarily the jugaad of the corporate world. हाँ, so what we say is waterfall. It was in 1970. Waterfall मतलब very simple है यार. एक के बाद एक. So for example, in software world, they first आपका customer के साथ बैठ के you get the requirement document. आपको जैसा project से, for example, I need a website. Huh? So you get a project, and then from that you do a design, from that you do coding, कुछ तो coding करते हैं, and then you do testing. ये एक step के बाद एक step is primarily waterfall, and it was designed somewhere around 1970 according to Wikipedia. But most of the project management and everything, all the popular project management frameworks and all, ये सब waterfall technique पे they made it. For example, waterfall applies in everything. For example, if you're hiring someone in your company, how do you do? First you get the resumes, and then you shortlist resumes, and then you call all these people interviews, and then finally you find no one suitable. Again you do the same thing.
Same. Correct.
हाँ, ये जो है ना, see, this you see everywhere. You see it in marketing, you see it in hiring, you see it in manufacturing. एक step के बाद एक step. So ये सब, for example, to get the resumes आपको एक week लगेगा. Okay, एक week के बाद then you start shortlisting, let's say 2-3 दिन. And then you start interviewing everyone. People say that no, I am not available on this day. मैं तो available नहीं हूँ, मैं इधर हूँ उधर हूँ. You get like another 4-5 days. And उसके बाद interview. हाँ, so ये जितना time है ना, like at least you have like 15 to 20 days of time waste होने के बाद आपको पता चलेगा like these are all not suitable. Now what I say, I go to my HR person and say that मेरे को ये profiles नहीं चाहिए. Now you have to get a better profiles. मैं feedback देता हूँ. हाँ, so अब from next time onwards, that HR person will look for better quality profiles. है ना? So you say it in IT, you say it in software development, you say it in project management, you say it in marketing, you say it anywhere. So the same thing end to end keeps repeating.
Correct.
Every time you go through this cycle, your time is wasted. Organizations waste a lot of time and money on it. At the same time, you don't get the results. यहाँ पे सब लोग फंस जाते हैं. ये cycle जो है ना, this is a vicious cycle.
Absolutely right. So sir, tell me one thing, coaching, teaching and consulting are the same jargons or there is a difference?
I call them as corporate cousins.
अच्छा, corporate cousins. So
But for in most of the organizations, they believe that these are all the same. For example, teaching, मतलब like for example, it's training. Training आपको ज्ञान देना है. But most of the ज्ञान nowadays is very structured, flow based. अगर I have to start from alphabets so that you know the words and vocabulary. If I put the vocabulary first and grammar first without alphabets, you don't know it. So most of the training that we do is a lot of flow based. It has a very good structure. It gives you a lot of concepts and insights. And at the same time, nowadays, all the modern Scrum trainers, they do a lot of experiential learning. Experience learning, matlab, like, okay, just I'll not show you the PPT only, but I'll also make sure that you experience it in small bits and pieces. That is training. Training is I take a whiteboard, I take a PPT, or I take there are so many. There are 4Cs, Sharon Bowman 4Cs. ये सब बहुत सारा techniques है training में. So nowadays modern trainers are using all these techniques to maximize engagement. इतना लोगों को क्लासरूम में सब लोग हिला के रख देते
Just
हैं.
for engagement.
हाँ, engagement.
कि people are engaged in the classroom.
We don't want people to sleep after lunch. So that is largely adult learning. So then coaching is, I usually call it as self-discovery. मैंने बताया था ना, I'll show your own mirror. So when was the last time you stood before a mirror and mirror looks at you and say that, hey, you know what, you look really fat. A mirror will never say like that. So mirroring is all about true non-judgmental reflection. So what I often do in coaching is I ask a lot of questions like, hey, you know what, where are you currently? Where do you want to reach? And what kind of actions you want to take? So there are a lot of coaching competencies involved, like, for example, active listening and then designing actions. So coaching, as I said before, I cannot change you.
Correct.
Unless you want to change. I cannot force change on you. So in agile context, ये थोड़ा one step forward.
Ahead है.
One
But
step.
everybody is saying right now कि we are agile now. Every company is saying like this. Even we do. So it is just a buzzword for every company, or actually things are changing in a right way.
If you ask my opinion, 90-95% of the organizations, they don't change. They keep everything as it is. They only change the names. Agile in name only. So if you ask me, ये लोग पूरा टर्मिनोलॉजी जार्गन ये सब बदल के देन दे कॉल देमसेल्फ एज एजाइल. लेकिन ग्राउंड पे कुछ चेंज नहीं होता है. फॉर एग्जांपल, you take one of the popular framework like Scrum. Scrum talks about lot of teamwork.
Correct.
यार, what is teamwork? कितने लोगों को पता है? What is teamwork? For example, in a cricket match, I'm a bowler. So let's say in a one-day match, I maximum bowl 10 balls, 10 overs. Okay. So after 10 overs, what will I do?
Fielding.
But did you not interview me for bowling? Why should I field? You hired me for bowling. You interviewed me for bowling. I finished my job. I can go and take rest. No. So can I bowler say like that?
No.
Why? So what you're telling me is in teams, people contribute outside their core specializations. And we rarely see that in organization.
Oh, very true, sir.
So people say that मैंने अपना काम कर लिया. See, I say this like the operation successful but the patient died.
मेरा एक मानना यहाँ पे है कि ना, मैंने कंपनी में एक चीज बोली कि अगर काम कर रहे हो, विचारधारा एक होनी है. कंपनी में पैसा आना है. एज ए स्टार्टअप वर्ड
सब लोग ऐसा ही सोचते हैं, लाइक यू नो आई एम गेटिंग माई सैलरी, मेरे को अपना सैलरी मिल रहा है, बस मैं खुश हूँ. So there are a lot of very good characteristics of a team that Scrum talks about, which hardly people follow. So, and then apart from that, you also see, as I keep doing it, most of the organizations, for example, they don't know what is continuous improvement. Scrum talks about continuous improvement. Let's say, for example, आपको body बनाना है, आपको you want to develop apps. Now, how do you do it? So, आप एक दिन आप जिम करते हो and then you become bodybuilder next day? No. So, the way how you build up your body over several months or years is something what I call it as continuous improvement. You keep on improving. You work on, let's say, for example, आपको muscles नहीं आता है. So, then you go to a different trainer. You go to a different person. So, this is a journey that any agile framework by default promote. And most of the time, ये सब ignored है. So, the journey of continuous improvement, teamwork, empowerment, we call it as lot of experimentation. We call it as empiricism. ये बहुत सब jargon है. Not many people usually understand it.
But how company can just make sure like every teamwork, every team person can do a teamwork? How it is possible? For me, you tell me. For my team, like, so everybody can understand.
इसके लिए what I have done in the past is we hire coaches. And coaches say that, okay, guys, we need to win the match. For example, now we want people to volunteer. See, let's say, for example, if I'm assigning you a task, so that is a push. मैं आपको एक काम दे रहा हूँ and I'm pushing you the work. But on contrary, if you yourself says that मेरे को ये काम करना है, that is a pull. So how do you help people to move away from a push-based culture to a pull-based culture? Then people must be very, very motivated. Sir, मेरे को ये काम करना है. They come forward and take up the work. So the biggest shift for any agile teams is moving away from push-based working to pull-based working. It's a very big concept by itself. And the other thing is, how do you make sure that we are thinking as we, not I? Most of the time what happens is मेरे को क्या मिल रहा है, मेरे को what is my situation, there's a lot of I thinking in people. और हम जब टीम में काम करते हैं ना, we talk about we. For example, there is someone who got fever, who fallen sick. Now, as a team, we committed something. If this person fallen sick, now can I take it? Because it's the team commitment, right? And most of the time, ये तो नहीं होगा. See, उसका काम है, मुझे क्या करना. But as a team, we failed. As an individual, you might have won. So there are so many characteristics of a team behavior, which many people usually ignore.
I think those who are listening, the aspiring founders are listening to this podcast. I think I have written one learning as of now. Okay, for teamwork. Okay, I will share two things after this podcast. Okay, what I have learned from this podcast. I think there is so much to learn from you, sir, because one learning can change entire ecosystem of the startup. Sahi. Acha, tell me one thing, sir. Indian startups are growing very fast. Okay, I think they don't use any kind of method. Whatever method works, they do it like let's karo. But global startups are going very faster and very smarter way. How Indian startup can adopt that system?
What I have seen is startups usually operate in chaos. So day in, day out, they do a lot of firefighting. I have seen many startups where they do a lot of firefighting. But one thing, if you ask me, there are very good examples like, for example, Airbnb, how they built their entire ecosystem. So they were talking to customers and they were improving the product. That is something Airbnb has done. And the other example that I always do is Slack. So if you are not talking to your customers and taking a feedback, then probably you're gone. So मैंने just a few months back, like 6-7 months back, क्या हुआ था ना, like I was talking to one of my friend. He told his startup story. They wanted to build a product for schools. They hired a big team. They made beautiful interiors inside. They started developing this product. It's almost for 1 year they were developing this product left and right. And after 1 year, they were taking this product to the schools which are supposed to use it. And then they were shocked to find out that the schools do not function the way how this product got designed.
This is the main problem, sir.
This is a real problem. It's all you fail after 1 year or you fail after 1 month. In which of these two you save lot of time and money. So agility is all about make your failure so small that you can easily overcome that.
Absolutely right.
See, I have seen that company spent like more than 2 crores of investors' money to build the entire product. And then these schools now don't want it.
But अभी तो आपने बोला कि कस्टमर से बात करके then improve करके you can make the product.
See, I call it a concept of rapid prototyping. आप एक prototype बना लो and then show it to the customer, take the feedback. And then if they like it, you improve it. If they don't like it, 2-3 बार improve करके छोड़ देना. बस. So, if you start building the product for the entire year, and then बाद में you take it to the customer and customer says, यार मेरे को ये नहीं चाहिए. It doesn't fit my purpose.
Lots of companies are failing like this.
We call the concept as fail fast, fail cheap.
I think D2C startups are doing the same thing. Like they are not creating product, just they are doing ads, performance marketing ads. how many customers are interacting with the ads. After that, they are launching the product. Is it correct way?
That's a good example. मैंने एक सिंगापुर में एक बैंक था. So I was working with that bank. This was they make marketing campaigns. ये जो like for example they make print media, like social media, and they also make TV ads and everything. So I have seen that floor where there are at least 200 people. ये 200 people ये सब कैंपिंग बनाते रहते हैं. These are really high budget campaigns. हाँ, ये सब बन के like after 7-8 months they do a big bang release across all channels. आप टीवी में जाते हो, प्रिंट में big paper ad. On one auspicious day, ये सब ads they will dump it in the market. And then 2 week 3 week के बाद you're not getting the registrations, you're not getting the leads. अब क्या करोगे?
Customer नहीं आ रहा है.
Now what will you do? So I have seen them literally burning millions of dollars building such campaigns, very big bang campaigns, and at some point of time they launch it, and then finally they expect some ROI, and the ROI is way different from what they expected.
You tell me one thing here. Why people are doing like this? Because if they are thinking, if I have a crore rupees, I will invest into the marketing and I will get the customer. Why they are thinking like this? Because they know the product is not going to work out like this. If it's the same case, every investor has this huge money. They can dump the money and they can get the customer like this.
Somewhere in our culture, our ability to think really small is missing.
Really small is missing. Oh, good word.
Think small and validate the market demand and then build on top of it. So, but people are building it. So let's say, let's say for example, if I close my eyes, I think that I wanted to build an EV rental business. For example, I wanted to rent bikes online.
Correct.
How do I know that there is a demand for this? Because everyone can get ideas. आपको भी 1000 ideas. Anyone who has an idea, they can close their eyes and give all the ideas in the world. But how do you know which idea will work, which idea will not work? हाँ. So जब मेरे को आइडिया आता है, I'll start building it. हाँ, पूरा पैसा इधर उधर से लाके I'll start building the product.
You have seen so many startup like this.
Oh my God, I was working with one insurance company.
Okay, ठीक है.
They are it's a Mumbai based company. They were gung-ho about digital. हाँ, हम कुछ भी करेंगे डिजिटल में करेंगे. ठीक है. So they did some market research. मार्केट रिसर्च मतलब क्या है? एक सर्वे भेजते हो 10-15 लोगों को. You start talking to people. And you know what will happen? Okay, because of this market research, I started building this product for the next 9 months to 10 months. एक बड़ा डैशबोर्ड बना के एक न्यू प्रोडक्ट क्रिएट करके बहुत कुछ हल्ला मचाया था. Now they have taken this in the market. Within 2 months they shut it down. And I asked them what happened. No, we thought that we will get very big ROI, very big revenue out of this product, but it flopped like anything.
They will get 1,000 customers in a day. I think because why? I'm so sorry to interrupt, because I got one sense. Because one found in the Instagram reels, there are so many founders are coming and they are saying, we have launched this product and in 2 days he got 10,000 sale. I think this is the main reason.
So
Might be. You are the right person to judge it.
So ये सब ads most of the time they are not very truthful. They're not.
Please listen it carefully, the founders to the sir. These ads are really not true.
So they're not very truthful. They even most of the time आप founders pitch deck देखते हैं ना, they'll give you beautiful, colorful presentations. I rarely see founders demonstrate their product in an investor meet. I don't know how many times you have seen, but I rarely see investors demonstrating their product end to end. So all they show is, okay, this is the market size, this is what we achieved, and this is the potential, this is the projection. All this pitch deck mein you will put it. And then let's say they have taken investor on board, and this investor keep discovering so many things. Ha. So again, many of these product ideas, they are just ideas unless you validate the market demand. You might think that this is one of the most fantastic idea, and you put it in the this one, and then gone.
और वैलिडेशन भी ऐसा नहीं होता है कि आपने 15 days or 20 days में वैलिडेट कर लिया. It's a journey. 1 year, 2 year, 3 year. After that, you will see still the market is responding or not. Market is growing or not. So there are so many things.
Yeah, we have to validate the feasibility, scalability. There are so many things that I usually look at. So the biggest challenge I see with modern startups is they are not putting enough effort to validate if I'm building the right thing, which has a very huge future. So they just keep building it, and then they say that हमने बना दिया. So most of the time, the startups, that's what, no? There is a 90% failure rate, or
99%.
there's a lot of failure rate in most of the startups, because someone gets some idea one night in a dream, and बाद में ये सब
From that one reel, he will get motivated. Yes, even I will get 10,000 shares in a day.
most of the time, ये तो I have seen so many people going down the drain like this.
Acha, we are talking about Agile, right? And I think most of the non-tech companies, they think Agile is not for them. It's for the tech companies only. So what do you think about it?
No, anyone can be really agile. Anyone, as I said, I have given a couple of examples on marketing team in a bank. So that can be agile. So if I have to explain that case study, that team, honestly, what we did is we have to launch small campaigns to test the market. Is there a real, what the market responds to? We don't know. So let's say, for example, if you wanted to market a credit card, which channel is more efficient? We don't know. So एक small campaigns बना के you put it in the market, and you wanted to understand the response from the market before you really do a big thing. So the biggest reason why many people think that Agile is only for tech companies, it started all with the tech.
Only.
It all started with the tech and everything. But I have seen it is rapid shift from tech to non-tech. Because most of the companies, as for example, you take pharma, life sciences, they also have products. You have all this marketing teams, sales teams and all, they work on customer journeys. So most of the time, the core principles of continuous improvement, the core principles of time boxing. And one other thing with Agile is Scrum framework, for example, there's a concept of time boxing. It is all about discipline. And many people hate discipline, right? See, something like this, you take a gym membership, which you'll never use it.
But gym are only running on the memberships card.
So most of the time I have seen people do so many things which do not connect to the real purpose. आपका purpose कुछ और होता है, and आप कुछ और करते हैं. And then finally, it all end up in chaos and firefighting, and people don't know what they're really doing. So just to answer your point, it is not only tech, it is a lot of non-tech organizations are embracing it, like banking, insurance, lot of sales teams, marketing teams, and lot of what I have seen is of late life sciences and pharma companies are hiring agile coaches, help them to transform their journey. So there is a huge depth in it. But if you ask me, the case studies of tech are more than the case studies of non-tech. That is what I can see. So at this point of time, it is very early stage for non-tech teams to embrace these principles. That's what I can say.
Acha, you talked about the banking. Now I will ask the hard question to you. Tell me true thing, na? Banking and healthcare industry, very big giants.
Very, very big thing.
Correct? So are they really using the agile methodology, or it's just a buzzword in this particular system? Because I think they are just imposing the things to the humans, as per my opinion.
Correct. So I have seen so many transformations here. See, what happens is there is a top-down approach where we train leaders and then bring it down. And then there is a bottom-up approach. Bottom-up approach matlab niche se you train people at the bottom and make sure that the top people align to it, which will never happen. That and then there is one more thing: middle down, middle up. So you have some coaches who are doing this and that. So where you are training your director level kind of people, and you're also training managers, senior managers, and different. This has partial success. And the other thing is we take a thin slice of a business unit, where what we usually do is, let's say आपके पास you have a एक डिपार्टमेंट है, उसको स्लाइस बना के we will do it. We will try to transform it. For me, what really work is vertical transformation. So where running pilot of pilots usually works for me. So just to tell you this, I have seen many top leaders think that Agile, they know it.
They know it.
But honestly, they don't know it. They might pick few words from here and there and start using that jargon. And I have seen some organizations where the top leader who is running this Agile initiative in that organization, he is someone who is with 25 years of waterfall experience. I can see the future of that transformation. So, well, most of the times, they rename everything. They rename the waterfall structure. They rename waterfall names. For example, overnight project manager को scrum master बोल देते हैं. So, and then I have seen business analysts becomes product owners overnight. There are so many things that usually, renaming happens, but not the real change that is useful. ये तो I've seen organizations at some point of time ये सब try कर करके they give it up. They say that यार हमको काम नहीं कर रहा है ये सब, forget about it and let's go back to our firefighting.
So you tell like how you train the people in the organization, like how they can grow fast, how they can see their future, like customer retention, and the expenses should be decreasing, not increasing. How you can manage it?
See, what we usually do is we don't go big bang.
Okay.
We are not supermans where we just go into the organization and say that, okay, let us be agile from tomorrow. No, ये सब नहीं चलता है. ये सुपर हीरो सुपरमैन का धंधा नहीं चलता है.
होता है, रील में होता है.
But when we get into the organizations, it will not work. My approach is I will work with a leader who is very pro to this agile thinking, where there are like, let's say, 10 leaders. Look at a leader, when you talk to the leader, he himself says that, yeah, that is a good point, I agree with you, but that is a difficult change. And when he is acknowledging all that, we take that business unit. Unless your leaders cooperate, there is hardly anything you can do. You cannot put one step forward. And the other thing is, most of these organizations are process-driven organizations. Heavy process. Even to put one step forward, they need 10 approvals. And these organizations, people cannot get anything done without approvals. So let's say, for example, आपको 3 month में एक project deliver करना है. इसमें you will spend 2 months complaints to the process only. इतना सारा process they'll put forward. एक step के बाद एक step, एक step के बाद एक step. People aligning to a process is a very, very big, what I call it as a roadblock. Traditional leadership largely believes in, they think that if the process is stringent, everything will fall in place. But if the process is very stringent that people cannot follow, people just tick the process. It tick करके हाँ हो गया, but they will not do it in this. If the process is very, very lightweight, I mean, in fact, we preach a lot of lightweight process only. Some of the times mistakes will happen. So let's say if you have 100 units of process in organization, So what we say is, hey, can we put maybe 30-40 units of process and remaining everything around people? In my experience, people are so smart that whatever process or policy you put in place
We'll skip it.
they start thinking that how can I work around this? So let's say, for example, um, I've seen many sick leaves. A simple example of sick leaves in our organization. People say that, okay, I'm sick. And then 2 days ke baad, they'll bring a doctor certificate and submit to the HR. Process is really good. But the same person, when he was on leave, he will upload a Instagram video that he is partying in Goa. Now what will you do? So what happens is, when you put a process, people will align it. At the same time, they just do whatever they. So what I'm saying is, I've seen so many processes like this. They follow it for sake of following it, and then they just bypass it. And you take, for example, recent airline industry and all. I'm not an expert in airline industry and all. With all respect to the airline industry and all, they have one of the most stringent process. But even after following all the process also, bad things are happening. So why I'm trying to say is this: process to an extent is okay, but process overhead is really, really bad. And I have seen in many organizations, they don't have a process, they have a process overhead. And the kind of process overhead that we see in organizations is massive, that to get anything done, it is so hard. So agility talks about more of people over processes. Yeah, I'm not saying no process, but at the same time, if you are in an organization, let's say you have 100 units, so maybe you can put 60-70 units on people, maybe 30-40 units on some lightweight processes. So where the intent and purpose is being maintained, it is not people doing it for sake of doing it.
So अभी कंपनी के अंदर लाइक 80% प्रोसेसेस एंड 20% बियॉन्ड दैट होना चाहिए, या फिर 20% process and 80% beyond that?
So as you keep maturing, see, most of the people, they don't understand. For example, the intent, what is the purpose or intent of a sick leave? What is the purpose?
एंजॉय करना जैसे था इंटेंट लाइक इफ यू आर रियली सिक you can take leave.
Yeah, you can take leave. That is the intent and purpose of a sick leave. But how many times you have seen people misusing it?
100% all time.
All times. I can point to so many processes like this in the organization, where the process is there for namesake, which people don't follow. But now when you say that if you go to a sick leave, you have to bring the doctor's prescription, you add so many steps on it, people will follow everything, whatever you put, still they'll injure. It is the intent of the people that matters a lot, rather than following the process. So what I say is, in one of the organizations where I was working for, we keep a lot of lightweight processes. But at the same time, if something is violation, then we'll refer it to a committee to understand if the intent is followed or not. The intent of a sick leave process is, we want people to use it when they are really sick, not to misuse it. But let's say I found evidence that there is an Instagram video, and then this guy is giving us a medical certificate. Are these two not contradictory? So then what we'll do is, anything like this, we will refer it to a special committee which is formed. Let them take a decision or let them give a warning, whatever it is. So deal exceptions as exceptions rather than putting a heavy process around it. That is what we have followed over the time. So agility revolves around people. Agility is all about how do you bring in the shift in the work culture? How do you bring in shift in the way they think? How do you bring in shift in how people collaborate to achieve something together? So if you see this, in the past, great products were built by great people, great teams, not great individuals. So again, if you but our traditional management, they encourage a lot of individual heroism. So when I was part of the team, there is one person who always get that Star of the Month award. And rest of all this, हम जितना भी काम करते हैं ना, हमको कुछ award मिलते हैं, कुछ मिलता नहीं है, then why the hell I need to work? हाँ, so there was some processes like this which are very, very harmful. It will bring down the morale of rest of the people. So that's why be careful of designing a process. And what I have done is we keep a process in place and try it for 1 month, and we wanted to hear from people what is that they are seeing. And then हमको process को improve करते रहते हैं. हाँ, process.
मतलब टीम में एक इंडिविजुअल अवार्ड तो होना ही चाहिए, बट टीम अवार्ड इज आल्सो शुड बी देयर.
हाँ, that is to an extent. हाँ, चलेगा.
Both can, but
हाँ.
because one should be leader ना, because there should be one thought who will run it.
To an extent वो चलेगा, but again if the same person is getting it
Again and again.
हाँ, मेरे को यार इसमें कुछ तो
मैं तो नहीं कहता, मैं एक बार 1 year 1 person.
हाँ. So honestly, these are all some of the very powerful principles that we use in agility, and unfortunately, most of these are ignored. And other thing that I often see is simplification.
Simplification.
हाँ, agility talks about lot of simplifying everything. Simplifying मतलब how do you simplify this? For example, let's say from the bottommost individual in the hierarchy to, let's say, CEO. Let's say there are 10 levels. Do you think the communication from this person reach all the way to that person? Never reach. Even if it reaches, it is a second-hand information or a third-hand information or whatever it is. And the opposite is also true. From a CEO, it will not go to this person. So now, there is a lot of communication paralysis in many organizations where they don't understand the vision of the organization. They don't understand why they are doing certain things certain way. They don't interact with leaders at all. So, everything works. So if I wanted to interact with the director, I have to first go to my manager and say that I want to interact with it. And the manager पूछेगा why? Why तेरे को क्या काम है? Why you should go? हाँ. So now आप जितना hierarchy के ऊपर hierarchy बनते हैं ना, so it is all communication paralysis. The more communication structure you have in place, the more information doesn't flow through. If people misunderstand each other in organizations, how will they even work together?
नहीं कर सकते.
That is, again, I have seen most of the times. Yeah. So I traveled across 18 countries to deliver training, consulting, and everything. I have seen very good organizations where they celebrate failures, they encourage people, they really work with teams, they listen to everyone. There is a lot of feedback and feed forward mechanism. But I have seen some organizations, they are literally mafia kind of organizations. You don't believe. I have the kind of pressure people go through in organizations, like they have this mental stress and everything. It's totally outrageous. They cannot take it forward. So if an individual, an employee in the organizations don't want to seriously commit to his work, no matter how much you push that person, it is not going to work. But are these hours giving any value? It is not the hours. Let's say, for example, you have a plumber at home, and कुछ भी you have a plumbing work, and plumber says, "Sir, मेरे को 2 दिन लगेगा," and then he'll say, like 10,000 is the fees. And throughout these 2 days, this plumber 1 घंटा काम करता है, and then half an hour he'll talk on phone. दूसरा घंटा काम करता है, and then he'll go for 2 hours lunch. 2 दिन के बाद सर मैंने बोला था ना 2 दिन होगा, 10,000 दीजिए. Will you pay that money?
No, not at all.
Why? He said 2 days. So the point here is, I'm paying this plumber for the value he is giving me, for the value he's generating me, isn't it? Otherwise, I don't want his hours, no? His number of hours he put in office. It is not the number of hours someone will put at work. It is the value. If that plumber finishes the work in half an hour, 1 hour also, I'm ready to pay 10%. You know, this person who hired a plumber will argue with the plumber like that. And the same person will go to office. Next day, he say that my efforts are not being recognized. He might be putting long hours, but out of these long hours, you are not getting anything. So it's not the number of hours that is going to give anything to the organization. See, I have so many people who finishes the work in 2-3 hours, and I'm happy to pay them monthly salary, and sometimes I pay bonuses also. So the point is, it is not the hours or days, it is the value proposition. So what is value? For example, you have a sales team. I want the sales team to close deals for me. If you have a marketing team, they can work 1 hour, 2 hours, or 10 hours. I want them to produce a lot of leads and everything for my company. Similarly, I have a customer support team who has to get a score. So it is the value that they are giving to an organization, the value proposition. And believe me, 9 out of 10 people, they don't understand the value proposition. They usually say, मैंने अपना काम कर लिया. I said, no, the operation successful, but the patient died. People put so many hours, but organizations, they don't get anything out of these hours. And oh my God, there are so many fights back and forth on this.
इस चीज़ से तो मैं ये सीख गया हूँ सर, पूरा कल पूरा सिस्टम हिला दूंगा कंपनी में, मैं जो 8 घंटे बैठ के काम करता है उसके लिए. But there is one more question. You are saying value proposition. I think those who understood the value proposition, they can implement in their system. But there are two kind of founders are there. One is saying कि 70 hours a week, 80 hours a week, you need to work hard, very hard. And if you don't work hard, then you will not get any kind of result. But other founders, startup founders, are saying just do work for 2 hours a day. Give me the results. I will give the damn 1 crore rupees ka CTC.
Yeah.
So who is right here?
See, again, you have a workforce and they have some IQ levels, some IQ scores, IQ levels. Kuch. So the point is, you have a purpose why you have hired people. So most of the time, it is the value proposition that they are hired for, they have to fulfill. Otherwise, organizations, they don't get anything. So I worked as a software developer. And my boss every week give me those weekly targets or weekly goals, I would say. So as and when I keep meeting those weekly goals, my boss is happy and I'm happy. Some weeks where थोड़ा ज़्यादा हो जाता है. Like for example, there are so many situations at home which I cannot control. So then we genuinely try to understand what is this person going through and थोड़ा ज़्यादा time दे देते हैं. So the point is, it is not the hours or days or whatever it is they are putting per week. It is how do you define the value proposition from this person, create that value targets, with which if this person is consistently meeting those value targets, I have no problem. But hardly in organizations people talk about value and they talk about these hours fight will happen. अरे यार इतने सारा घंटा मैं लगा रहा हूँ. So यार, see, I have employees who come at 9 o'clock in the morning and leave at 9, 10 o'clock. But I don't get anything from these employees.
Fire them.
We honestly try doing everything. We do a lot of coaching, nurturing and all. By तेरा problem क्या है? What do you think we should do? How do we work together? We give all the reasons, but in spite of all that, he keeps telling me very, very different stories. Yesterday he'll come up with one story, today he'll come up with another story, and these two stories are not related. तब शक हो जाता है, like अरे यार ये तो कुछ तो बहाना बना रहा है.
Everybody is talking about business. Business is very hard to do, sir. ठीक है? And I think मतलब in nowadays everybody is talking about business agility. Right? Is this really transformative?
Okay. So I'll tell you my take on business agility. See, every product or a service that you offer, as a shelf life. For example, if you go to our olden days where we used to get a BSNL connection, landline connection at home, and you know how much time it is going to take to get an approval. 4-5 years, we used to get a landline connection at home. Now you imagine what does it take for you to get a landline connection. So what I'm essentially getting here is every product or a service where you are currently making some revenues has a shelf life. I call it as it is on a borrowed time. And the shelf life is becoming shorter, shorter, and even shorter. And you have disruption from competition, and you also have disruption from external forces like COVID. For example, during COVID, how many restaurants people have shut down? So disruption is the current norm at this point of time. So business agility is something, your ability to pivot to new business. For example, you take the Netflix journey. How did Netflix did it? So they were as a they started as a DVD rental. हाँ. So now उसके बाद now they started live streaming. See, when your product or service becoming irrelevant to the market, no one is even taking DVD rentals now. What will they do? Now they started doing live streaming, and उसके बाद they have their own shows now, and now they are into gaming. So your organization's ability to pivot and reinvent the business model is so important. Most of the business models are losing relevancy these days. Whatever used to work 10-20 years back, they no longer work. So it's mostly the relevancy of a business model that makes a huge difference. And the shelf life of a business or a business model, it is often getting disrupted. Whatever money that you used to make last year, you'll never make it. And every founder gets stuck in this expenses cycle where your expenses keeps on increasing and you have new players entering into the market who is taking away your revenue share. Now, what will you do? This is the loop. So my take on this is, how do you pivot new ideas all the time and start getting into new things? For example, what is Titan famous for?
Now watches.
Watches, right? You remember those old watches with the dial and all. Now Titan is talking about all the smart watches with an app and all that. What really cost it? So there will be a point of time where your business, your product loses relevancy to the market. So your competitors, there is someone who is showing you that, hey, you know what, now it all got disrupted. During those days, I used to use Walkmans, remember, for hearing music. Now, how many of you are using Walkmans? How many of you are even using iPod?
No one.
No one, right? Even iPhone products are also getting disrupted. So the point is, disruption is a norm. It comes through competition, or it comes through new product discovery, new product invention. So to me, if you ask me, business agility is rethinking about the relevancy of something. So for example, business agility takes one step forward and say that, are we in the right market? Are we producing the relevant products that makes a difference to the market? So business agility is little different than improving your existing product. You are running ahead of your competition, or you are escaping from disruption. That is, to me, is business agility. And for every startup founder, they cannot start a business and today and then they can stay relaxed for the next 5-10 years. No, you have competition eating all your small pieces of revenue. At some point of time, this business is not sustainable. And then you don't have any other experiments in place that can add a lot of value.
Absolutely.
And that is where things usually go wrong for founders, where whatever they think yesterday could work, no longer work now. For example, you see how many restaurants were shut down during COVID time, and there were so many smart people, they went into cloud kitchens. If you don't have the ability to pivot things and get into new spaces, or I call it as related spaces, then you are totally knocked out.
वही बात बोली ना सर, बिजनेस बहुत मेहनत से कंटिन्यू इम्प्रूवमेंट से बनता है एवरी सिंगल डे. अच्छा, सम रैपिड फायर क्वेश्चन सर फॉर यू. अच्छा, एजाइल इन वन वर्ड, माइंडसेट और प्रोसेस.
Well, it's more of mindset or the way of thinking or a different way of doing things.
Biggest agile myth you wish to you want people to stop believing it.
Agile is not I mean, many people say that there's no planning, just no documentation, just go and do things ad hoc, random, whatever you want.
Okay, agile's tools, essential or misleading?
Most of the times, there are some tools which are essential, but majority of the tools are misleading. Yeah.
Same like the same reel. Which is more dangerous, fake agility or rigid process?
I would say fake agility. Once you get started on fake agility, it's very difficult to undo it.
Which is the real game changer in agile thinking, simplification or continuous improvement?
I would say both. Both has to work together. It is simplifying everything. And how do you continuously improve your simplification?
One last, stand-ups.
Uh,
Truly useful or just morning rituals?
well, stand-ups to me, I call it as what I call it huddles. So in a cricket match or a football match, everyone get together like this. No? That is to me stand-up.
Not like a standing.
No. And nowadays stand-ups, no one really stands. They just do some phone calls and then do it for 1 hour.
Things are changing very fast.
Yeah.
Every office is. So I learned so many things in the podcast, sir. Thank you so much for coming in the founder's dream. And one last simple question: what is your dream now?
Well, we wanted to help organizations transform their work culture. That is to me is one of my biggest dream. Even with whatever I know, if I'm able to impact even 1% of the organizations to clean up their work culture and build products that that their customers love. And most of the time, we also wanted to help people who got stuck in firefighting. They don't know the way out of it. So it's what I call it as I align to Scrum Align's dream of transforming the world of work. And that is also something my biggest dream. How do you help a small percentage of organizations transform their work culture and help them move forward? If everyone likes coming to office on a Monday morning, then your organization is one of the most wanted organizations.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, Shekhar sir. It's a great conversation. मजा आ गया सर.